Teachers are great designers, actually. And like they're usually thinking about what kind of mood they want to set. What we're lacking is thinking about the student's experience with that material. Students are our clients at the end of the day, and we're in the human development business, right? So we want students to have the best experience in the classroom and feel successful when they leave. And design is a really quick way to kind of help that along. There's three categories that I always train on. And the first is the font style. So there's different styles of fonts that you can choose from. Then thinking about how you're going to actually treat that specific font choice and like within that category. And then the third being font size is actually really important too. Those laptops are so small. So on our screens, it might look fine, but on a student's screen, it becomes much smaller. As far as the font categories go, there's three different ones that I usually see the most often in class, and it's serif fonts, sans serif fonts, and then script. Sans serif is always better on digital materials because it actually there's less width variation between the text. So you'll see like a Times New Roman is a serif, and you can see the little things that hang off the letters or the thickness of one side of the A, and then it gets real skinny and all of that. That's meant to help the eye move, but it's effective on paper. When you shift to a screen, you want something that's a little bit more steady, which is that sans serif, like an Arial or Roboto, or any of those that don't have the little serifs hanging off of the edge, and they're a little bit more consistent in that width. That helps with a lower resolution, like a laptop. Then there's all sorts of different styles of sans serif. There's like the condensed, where the letters are super skinny, or a little bit wider. And the wider fonts, so where if you want to look for like a round O, is the easiest way to spot those wider fonts. That helps all readers, but specifically dyslexic readers, because that width actually allows the eye to separate the letter forms a little bit. And that's really all reading is at the end of the day, is shape recognition. Font size is the biggest eye opener, I think. So web designers, when they are putting together a website or anything that's going to be viewed on screen, essentially, so mobile, whatever, they always choose 16-point font, which seems pretty large, but if you think about how you're interacting with it, that makes sense. When we give students worksheets, we should probably treat that like a website. If it's being viewed digitally, it's essentially the same thing. And so bumping up that text to, I'd say if it's a Google Doc or something like that, 14 point, that's still a big jump from what we're probably using, which is the default 11. And so when the text is a little bit larger, it allows the student to only focus on one thing at a time. And then presentations, so what you're putting up on the screen, that minimum font size should be about 24. And if you put that up on your smart board or whatever you're using in class and go to the farthest seat in your classroom and just look at it from there, that can be a big eye opener. And am I actually displaying information in a way that students can access from every point in the classroom? And font size is an easy way to check that. Picking 3 fonts. So your header font, so what's going to be that big attention getter piece. Body font, that's where you should always keep it simple. Sans serif, it's where your content lives, so you don't really want to take a chance that students don't recognize letter forms or they get tired reading a little bit too fast. And then the third one is the flare font, and that's the one I was talking about, that like cursive, fun, joyful. And there's absolutely nothing wrong in using that, as long as it's used for the oh by the way type of information. Or I would see it used a lot when it's like check it out, or something along those lines of just that fun extra piece. If you want to use those joyful fonts, do it. Just don't use it for the content, the key information that you need students to leave with. that header can be fun and exciting too. And we usually tell people to think about your brand. Like, what are you trying, what kind of mood are you trying to set? And your brand doesn't have to be you as a teacher necessarily, but it can be your class. So computer science class, I think of different typographic styles than say like US history. Like there's just different styles that you can pick that really convey the vibe of your class, and a header is a great place to do that. Teachers they're already making all of these decisions. They're already deciding what font they're using. They're already deciding on the layout that they're doing. And so what's happening is now they're able to make these decisions a lot faster and root their decisions in what they know is going to be best for their students, rather than just like, I think this looks nice.